so glad that we got to come to Grandma and Grandpa's house again this year.
Me too. I love getting to make Christmas cookies with Grandma and drinking hot chocolate by the fireplace with Grandpa.
Do you think they're going to try and tell us the Christmas story again? Like, I get that it's Christmas and all, but like, can we just move on to the presents?
I don't know. I mean, they love telling us that story, but it's so boring. The same things happen every time they tell it. Where's the action?
I have an idea. When they come in here and start the stories, I think we should add our own spin to it. You know, maybe talking about crazy Christmas foods or start singing Christmas carols. It would be funny.
Yes.
Okay, here they come.
Oh, what were you guys talking about?
We were just wondering about the story of Jesus, and we wanted to see if you and Grandma would let us help with it this year.
Yeah, we think we've got it all figured out, and though it might be fun to talk about it together.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great idea. What do you think, Grandpa?
Yeah, let's give it a go. Do you guys remember where the story starts?
Well, that's the one part we don't remember. So why don't you start us off, and we'll jump in with anything we know.
Okay, the actual story starts 6 months before Mary even was met by the angel. Zechariah was a priest and was married to Elizabeth. They were both very old and had not been able to have children. That was until Zechariah was met by...
Oh, I've got this. He was met by Papa Elf, right?
Yeah, and Papa Elf helped Zechariah realize that Elizabeth was going to have a child named John, but he told Zechariah that he wouldn't be able to talk until John was born because of all the candy canes he was going to eat.
That's an interesting twist on it, but that's not exactly how it went. Someone did come talk to Zechariah while he was in the temple, but it was an angel who told him that Elizabeth was going to have a child named John. And it wasn't the candy canes that stopped Zechariah from speaking.
Got it. No candy canes and no Papa Elf. He must show up later in the story on their trip to the North Pole. Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, so Elizabeth was pregnant with John when Mary was told by the angel Gabriel that she was going to have a baby. Gabriel told Mary that Elizabeth was also pregnant, even in her old age. So Mary decided to go visit Elizabeth.
I remember this part. As Mary was traveling, she met up with Buddy the Elf, who was also going to visit Elizabeth. They traveled through the candy cane forest, across the sea of swirly, whirly gumdrops, before they got to New York City, where Elizabeth lived.
Yeah, Elizabeth was going to help Buddy find his long-lost dad. When Elizabeth saw Mary and Buddy walk up, she was so full of joy that baby John started dancing in her belly and Zechariah was able to talk again. The end.
Wait. Papa Elf, North Pole, candy canes, Buddy the Elf. Are you guys talking about that movie where the elf leaves the North Pole to find his dad in New York? No. That is a Christmas story, but that's not the one Grandpa and I are telling you.
No, now Mary did go visit Elizabeth, but it wasn't in New York. It was in Judea. Let's look at the Bible to read the real story. Let your grandpa get these on, he's an old man. It's found in Luke 1:39-45. At that time, Mary got ready and hurried to a town in Judea's hill country. There she entered Zechariah's home and greeted Elizabeth. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby inside her jumped, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. In a loud voice, she called out, "God has blessed you more than other women, and blessed is the child you will have. But why is God so kind to me? Why has the mother of my Lord come to me? As soon as I heard the sound of your voice, the baby inside me jumped for joy. You are a woman God has blessed. You have believed that the Lord would keep his promises to you." You see, the importance of the story is that we see in Elizabeth. It says that when Elizabeth heard Mary, John leapt for joy in Elizabeth's stomach. Elizabeth was so overjoyed. And John was excited about Jesus, who he was going to tell the people about before Jesus' ministry even started.
Yeah, Elizabeth and John were both ready to celebrate Jesus even before he was born. John's joy spread to Elizabeth, and her joy was contagious to everyone around her. And if Elizabeth was so full of joy to celebrate him, then we should be even more excited to celebrate him now and to share that good news of joy with others.
So what you were saying is we should share good news of joy because Jesus deserves celebration?
Well, that's right. Mary and Elizabeth had to have faith that the good news that was shared with them would happen through their children. And it was that faith that brought them great joy for what was going to come. This joy should not have been left just between them, but needed to be shared with everyone, which is what God calls us to do today.
And this is the first reason why we reflect on the Christmas story each year. Elizabeth and Mary were both ordinary people, but God called them to extraordinary things. Through it all, they had joy and celebrated each other. This joy is shared with us as we celebrate all that happened during each Christmas each year. And we can share that joy with others as we share the good news of Jesus with them. I think this is what made you think of the movie Elf. Buddy was so full of joy and the Christmas spirit that he wanted to share it with everyone around him. At first, people were a little skeptical, but as he continued to spread Christmas cheer, more and more people started to experience the same joy that Buddy had.
It's so cool that Elizabeth chose to have joy and celebrate the plan that God had for her and Mary.
Yeah, and even though Buddy the Elf wasn't really part of the story, it's still cool that we can learn something from him as well. Just like he shared his joy with others, I can share my joy with others.
You're right. I can't wait to see where a story takes us next. Hey, Grandpa, have you ever heard of this guy called the Grinch? I think he needs some of Elizabeth's joy, but